The story of Atlantis is one of the most renowned and enduring tales of a lost city, said to have been swallowed up by the sea and lost forever. However, there are now numerous cases of ancient cities, once seen as little more than myths and legends, that have emerged from the past, raising the question of how many more lost cities remain buried and waiting to be uncovered. Welcome to History Bazaar. Today we're talking about the ancient mysteries of legendary cities long lost. Atlantis of the Sands is a lost city, tribe, or are spoken of in the Quran, which has come to be known as the Iram of the Pillars. Iram was said to be adorned with lofty buildings and was populated by a group of people known as Ad. As they had turned away from Allah, the prophet Hud was sent to summon them to return to the worship of Allah and to obey him. The people of Iram reacted with hostility and did not heed the words of Hud. As a result, legend says that the Ad was punished and a sandstorm was sent against the city for 7 nights and days. In the end, Iram vanished beneath the sands as though it had never existed. In the early 1990s, a team led by Nicholas Clapp, an amateur archaeologist, announced that they had found the ancient city of Ubar, which was identified as Iram of the Pillars. This was achieved using NASA's remote sensing satellites, ground-penetrating radar, Landsat program data, and the Space Shuttle Challenger images. These resources allowed the team to identify old camel trade routes and the points at which they converged. One of these converging points was a well-known waterhole at Shizr in Dhofar Province, Oman. When the excavation was carried out at the site, a large octagonal fort with high walls and tall towers was uncovered. The team announced that they had found the legendary Iram of the Pillars. While doubt remains as to whether Ibar and Iram are the same, it has been suggested that at the very least, the story of Iram was inspired by the city of Ubar, and over time became altered to incorporate a message to obey the will of Allah. The city of Heracleion, home of the temple where Cleopatra was inaugurated, plunged into the Mediterranean Sea off the coast of Egypt nearly 1,200 years ago. It was one of the most important trade centers in the Mediterranean before it sank more than a millennium ago. For centuries, the city was believed to be a myth, much like the city of Atlantis is viewed today. But in 2001, an underwater archaeologist searching for French warships stumbled across the sunken city. After removing layers of sand and mud, divers uncovered the extraordinarily well-preserved city with many of its treasures still intact, including the main temple of Amun-Jerb, giant statues of pharaohs, hundreds of smaller statues of gods and goddesses, a sphinx, 64 ancient ships, 700 anchors, stone blocks with both Greek and ancient Egyptian inscriptions, dozens of sarcophagi, gold coins, and weights made from bronze and stone. It was one of the most significant underwater discoveries in over a decade. Two years ago, an aerial search of the dense jungles of Honduras, fueled by local legends of a lost ancient city, revealed miles of seemingly man-made features. Announcements quickly spread as archaeologists found La Ciudad Blanca, the White City, otherwise known as the lost city of the monkey god. But all they had to go on were vague scans of the jungle below. However, earlier this year, a ground expedition concluded its investigation and dramatically revealed that the aerial images did indeed show traces of a lost civilization. Archaeologists have now discovered extensive plazas, earthworks, mounds, an earthen pyramid, and dozens of finely carved artifacts belonging to a mysterious culture that is virtually unknown. La Ciudad Blanca is a legendary city that was said to be located in the virgin rainforest of Musasir in eastern Honduras. In 1927, pilot Charles Lindbergh reported seeing monuments constructed from white stone while flying over eastern Honduras. By the 1930s, there were rumors of a place in Honduras called the City of the Monkey God, which was equated with Ciudad Blanca, and in 1939, adventurer Theodore Mord claimed to have found it and brought thousands of artifacts back to the United States to prove it. According to Mord, the indigenous people said a giant statue of a monkey god was buried there. He never revealed the precise location of his find, as he feared the site would be looted and died before returning to the site for a proper excavation. In 1952, explorer Tibor Sekel searched for the White City on an expedition financed by the Ministry of Culture of Honduras, but returned empty-handed. Investigations picked up pace in the 1990s following reports of the legend in popular media, and in 2012, the first significant discovery was made. Investigations have now revealed an extensive complex that had lain untouched since the city was abandoned for centuries, perhaps even millennia ago. The temple of the ancient city of Musasir was an important Urartian temple dedicated to Haudi, the supreme god of the kingdom of Urartu, an Iron Age kingdom centered on the Lake Van in the Armenian highlands, which extended out across what is now Turkey and Armenia. The temple was built in the holy city of Ararat in 825 BC, but after Musasir fell to the Assyrians in the 8th century BC, the ancient temple became lost to the pages of history. The temple of Musasir dates back to a time when the Urartians and Scythians were all at odds, trying to gain control over the area that is now known as northern Iraq. Ancient inscriptions refer to Musasir as the holy city founded in bedrock and the city of the raven, while the name Musasir itself means exit of the serpent. A depiction of the temple appears in the Assyrian bas-relief that adorned the palace of King Sargon II at Korsapath to commemorate his victory over the 7 kings of Ararat in 714 BC. Over the years, numerous studies and excavations were launched to try to locate the ancient temple of Musasir. All of them were unsuccessful until an expedition in July 2014, when an exciting announcement was made. The long-lost temple of Musasir had finally been found. Located in the Kurdistan region of northern Iraq, the findings included life-size human sculptures and column bases from a temple dedicated to the god Haudi, all dating back to the period in which the temple of Musasir was built. In 2014, Australian archaeologists, using cutting-edge remote sensing technology, made a remarkable discovery in Cambodia, a 1,200-year-old lost city that predates the Angkor Wat temple complex. Damien Evans, director of the University of Sydney's Archaeological Research Centre in Cambodia, and a small team working in the Siem Reap region were approved to use LiDAR laser technology in the remote jungles of Cambodia, the first time the airborne technology has been used for archaeological research in tropical Asia. The discovery came when LiDAR data emerged on a computer screen. With this instrumental bang, all of a sudden, we saw an immediate picture of an entire city that no one knew existed, which is just remarkable. The findings occurred after years of archaeological ground research to reveal Mahendra Parvata, a lost city where people lived on a mountain called Phnom Kulin, 350 years before the building of the famous Angkor Wat temple complex in northwestern Cambodia. It was part of the Hindu-Buddhist Khmer Empire that ruled much of Southeast Asia from about 800 to 1400 AD. Using the LiDAR data, the team of archaeologists discovered the ruins of 5 previously unrecorded temples, a huge statue of Buddha, evidence of ancient canals and roads, and hundreds of mysterious mounds spread across the city, possibly tombs where the dead were buried. They also found a cave with historically significant carvings that were used by holy hermits who were common during the Angkor period. The research and excavation into the remarkable discovery of Mahendra Parvata are still in their infancy, and it is unknown what more the archaeologists will find there. We hope you enjoyed another episode of History Bazaar. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the fastest growing history channel on YouTube.